Imagine the scenario for a second. Um, all your bills are paid. The house is completely quiet.
Sounds like an absolute dream, right?
Right, exactly. Like
Yeah.
no one is actively yelling at you, your relationships are stable, and you finally have this completely free, uninterrupted evening to yourself.
Yeah, you can finally just breathe.
But, and here's the crazy part, instead of feeling relief or, I don't know, joy, your heart rate just spikes.
Oh, yeah. The panic sets in.
Yes, your palms start to sweat. You feel this creeping, suffocating sense of dread, and you are honestly just absolutely terrified.
Which makes no logical sense to most people.
It makes zero sense. Why does human biology treat perfect, undisturbed peace like an incoming missile?
Okay, let's unpack this.
Oh.
Welcome to today's Deep Dive. I am your host, and jumping in with me today is our resident expert to help make sense of all this.
I am so glad to be here for this one. It's a really important topic. It really is. Today, we're exploring a framework rooted in the insights of this fascinating text, The Art of Receiving Peace After Survival Mode. And our mission for this deep dive is to look at a controversial, deeply counterintuitive truth about healing. Moving out of survival mode doesn't feel like a spa day. Often, it feels like a total identity crisis.
It truly does. And what's fascinating here is how we can look at survival not just as like a temporary season of hardship, but as a chronic lifestyle.
Right, not just a bad week or a bad year.
Exactly. For so many people, and this framework specifically highlights the profound experiences of Black women between the ages of, say, 25 and 40, survival basically becomes a profession.
A profession, wow.
Yeah, it becomes the core architecture of their identity. So when the chaos finally stops, peace doesn't feel like the reward you were promised. It feels intensely foreign. It feels, well, dangerous.
Dangerous, because your brain has literally rewired itself to optimize for disaster. I mean, it's neuroplasticity in action, right?
Precisely. We adapt.
We adapt to difficult families, to intense financial uncertainty, to environments where we constantly have to be the buffer. There's this brilliant analogy in the text about living next to a noisy highway.
Oh, I love that analogy.
Right. It's so good. Like if you live right next to a massive interstate for 5 years, your brain eventually just tunes out the roaring trucks and the honking horns. You literally sleep right through it.
It becomes your baseline.
Exactly. But if the city suddenly shuts down that highway overnight, the sudden silence is so deafening, so completely out of place, that it jolts you awake.
The silence is what triggers the alarm. And, to understand why, we have to look at the biology of what's actually happening in your body.
Let's get into the biology. What is happening?
So your nervous system has this thing called the HPA axis. That's the hypothalamus, pituitary, and adrenal glands.
Okay.
When you live in chronic survival mode, that axis gets stuck in a continuous loop. It's just constantly pumping out cortisol and adrenaline. Your baseline of quote-unquote normal calibrates to high stress.
Wow. So you're just marinated in stress hormones.
You really are. And this creates what we call an allostatic load, which is basically the cumulative wear and tear on your body from chronic stress. Your biology is literally running a 247 threat assessment.
It's like a car alarm whose sensitivity was cranked way, way up because you used to park in a really bad neighborhood.
That is a perfect way to look at it.
Like you needed that alarm to be sensitive back then. But now you've moved. You park your car in a perfectly safe, quiet garage, but the alarm is still going off every single time. Like a leaf hits the windshield or the temperature drops 2 degrees. You don't need a new car. You just need to recalibrate the sensor.
Yes. And because that alarm is always going off, you fall into what the text calls the achievement trap.
Oh, the achievement trap. This part hit hard.
Right. This is the deep-seated, often unconscious belief that rest is a transactional currency. You have to earn it.
You literally tell yourself, I can't deserve peace. I can't sit on this couch until I've finished absolutely everything.
Exactly. Which is a rigged game.
Totally rigged, because everything never ends. There is always going to be another email in the inbox.
Always.
There is always a friend in crisis or a family obligation or a new bill or some, newly optimized version of yourself that you are supposedly supposed to be building. If joy is contingent on clearing the to-do list, joy is permanently delayed.
And that endless postponement means you develop this highly specialized skill set. You become this master architect of survival.
Right?
You know exactly how to stretch a dollar, how to de-escalate a toxic family member, how to work 3 jobs. But you end up strangely inexperienced at simply living.
Because you've been running for so long.
Exactly. You run from the storm for so long that when the sun finally comes out, you don't even know how to stand in it without feeling completely exposed. Your mind has basically become a highly trained security guard,
Yeah.
constantly scanning the perimeter for threats that haven't even arrived yet.
Wait, hold on. I need to push back on this idea for a second because if we're being honest, isn't that security guard incredibly useful?
Well, yes, in certain contexts.
Like, if we've trained our brains to be top-tier security guards looking for hidden threats, how do we suddenly tell them they're unemployed without causing a complete psychological panic? I mean, if you've lived a life where the other shoe always drops, where people have let you down consistently, turning off your threat assessment sounds like a genuinely terrible, reckless idea.
It does.
How do you distinguish between actual healing and just being, naive to the harsh realities of the world?
That is the million-dollar question, truly.
Yeah.
And the answer is you don't just fire the security guard overnight and leave the front doors wide open.
Okay, good. That would be terrifying.
It would be. If you try to force your brain to just relax, your anxiety will actually spike because your nervous system doesn't believe you're safe yet. It thinks you're being careless. Healing isn't about being naive. It's about shifting from chronic hypervigilance to situational awareness.
Okay, so what is the actual mechanism there? How do we prove to our biology that the environment is safe without causing that panic?
You do it through somatic signaling. Look, your brain doesn't speak English.
Right.
It speaks biology.
Yeah.
So you have to communicate safety to your nervous system through your body. This is where regulating the vagus nerve comes in.
The vagus nerve, yeah.
When you're in a quiet room and you feel that dread creeping in, you don't try to outthink it. You use physical grounding.
Yeah, like what specifically?
You practice box breathing.
Yeah.
So inhaling for 4 seconds, holding for 4, exhaling for 4.
Right.
You notice the physical weight of your body on the chair. You are essentially sending a biological memo up to the brain saying, look, our heart rate is slow, our breathing is deep, there is literally no tiger in the room.
Yeah.
You have to repeatedly, intentionally show the body that calm does not equal danger.
So it's a physical practice of down-regulating, not just a mindset shift. You can't just positive think your way out of it.
Exactly. You cannot think your way out of a biological response.
But what makes this so difficult, I think, is that the internal biology of stress is heavily reinforced by external social pressures. I mean, society absolutely loves a hyper-functioning survival mode nervous system.
Oh, society thrives on it.
Yeah.
And this brings us to a really crucial dynamic from the text, the invisible promotion.
Yes, the invisible promotion.
This happens when, very early in life, you get promoted to a job you never actually applied for.
You just wake up one day and you're the manager of everyone's emotions.
Exactly. You become the responsible one, the family therapist,
Yeah.
the ultimate fixer, the woman who, no matter how heavy the burden is, quote unquote, can handle it.
Yes. The eldest daughter syndrome, the friend who always has the perfect advice, the employee who will stay until midnight to fix someone else's mistake.
Yep, that's the one.
And the trap is that society showers you with praise for this. Your family praises your maturity, your boss praises your insane work ethic. But that praise is a cage.
It absolutely is a cage.
Everyone around you, and eventually you yourself get so comfortable with your endless capacity to endure pain and fix problems that they just stop offering help. They just assume you've got it all under control.
And this raises an important question. If life suddenly gets easier, who are you without the burden?
Oh, wow. That's heavy.
It is the core identity crisis of peace.
Mm-hmm.
If your entire sense of self-worth, for decades, has been defined by your utility to other people, by your capacity to absorb their pain and solve their problems, then taking a step back feels like you are literally erasing your own value.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though, because the natural, logical instinct when you realize you're carrying all this weight is to say, I want to put this down.
Right.
But if everyone around you relies on you being the hero who carries the weight, setting that down is going to disappoint people.
People will be mad.
You are going to drop balls that other people expect you to juggle. So how do you separate your actual inherent human value from your utility to others, especially when setting boundaries actively upsets the ecosystem you live in?
It's incredibly hard. You really have to grieve the loss of the hero identity. Yes. You have to accept that establishing peace means some people will be unhappy with your new boundaries. Detaching your personal value from constant work means redefining what makes you good. You are not good because you are endlessly available. You are good because you exist.
That is a tough pill to swallow for recovering overachievers.
It is. But because we tie our identity so deeply into this dramatic, heroic narrative of struggle, we naturally expect the process of healing to be equally dramatic. We expect it to match the intensity of our trauma.
Which leads right into what the author calls Hollywood's lie.
Yes, Hollywood's lie.
We are conditioned by movies and media to think that healing is this massive cinematic climax. You expect to be standing on a mountain at sunrise.
With the sweeping orchestral soundtrack playing in the background.
Exactly. Confetti falling, tears of profound enlightenment streaming down your face as all your trauma magically evaporates into the wind.
And then quit its role.
Right. But the reality, healing doesn't feel like a movie climax. Healing feels incredibly, profoundly boring.
It is the most mundane experience imaginable. And when you suffer from chronic hyperarousal, when your baseline frequency is a constant, vibrating state of emergency boring, feels highly suspicious.
Let's talk about what that mundane disguised peace actually looks like on, say, a random Tuesday.
Okay, yeah.
It is paying your electricity bill without a wave of nausea. It is sleeping through the entire night without waking up at 3 a.m. to panic about an email you sent.
Oh, the 3 a.m. panic. We all know that one.
It's the simple, revolutionary act of eating your dinner without having a podcast, a television show, and a group chat all running simultaneously to distract you.
Just eating dinner.
Just eating. And my absolute favorite from the text, it is saying no to a request without feeling the frantic need to draft a 12-page apology letter.
That is huge, because peace arrives disguised as ordinary, unglamorous life. It essentially sits down next to you on the couch and says, "Baby, we're not fighting today."
And our immediate reaction is to fight it.
Right. Because of that hyperarousal, your immediate knee-jerk reaction is to narrow your eyes and think, okay, what's the catch? Who is about to attack me?
It's like waiting for a lottery win, while real peace is more like the quiet relief of finally untying your shoes at the end of a long day.
That's a great way to put it.
If you are in a calm, secure relationship, your brain tells you, there's no spark, we aren't passionate, because you are confusing anxiety with chemistry.
Oh, so many people do that.
Or if you have an easy week at work where everything is actually going smoothly, your brain tells you, I'm obsolete, I'm definitely about to get fired.
You are interpreting the absence of chaos as the prelude to a disaster. And this is exactly why we have to build concrete habits that normalize feeling calm. We need simple daily rituals to help the nervous system embrace quiet moments.
Okay, so what do those rituals look like in practice? If we know we need to train the vagus nerve and practice receiving this boring reality, how do we integrate that into an ordinary day?
It really starts with micro habits. So, for example, when you receive a non-urgent text message, practice intentionally waiting 15 minutes to reply.
Oh, that sounds agonizing for some people.
It is at first, but you just notice the internal urgency that tells you to respond immediately, and you just sit with it. You let the urgency pass.
Okay, I like that. What else?
Another ritual is building transition spaces into your day. So when you finish work, don't immediately jump into household chores. Sit in your car in the driveway for 5 unbroken minutes in complete silence.
No radio, no phone.
No radio, no phone. Let your body actually register that one activity has ended before the next one begins. These small moments of intentional pause slowly rewire your biological expectations.
I love that. Sitting in the driveway, it's actively practicing the state of rest.
Exactly.
But even if we master the biology, even if we get our vagus nerve perfectly toned and are breathing deep, there's still a massive emotional hurdle standing in the way.
Yes, there is.
It's a hurdle that is deeply specific, yet universally understood by anyone who comes from a background of struggle, and that is ancestral guilt.
Ancestral guilt.
Yeah.
It's the psychological weight of outliving the struggle of the people who came before you.
It's so heavy.
It really is.
Yeah.
If you fall into the demographic we've been centering on, Black women in their late 20s and 30s, or honestly, anyone who carries generational trauma, you know exactly what this feels like in your bones.
Yeah.
There is a deep, complex guilt in having a life that is fundamentally softer than your mother's or your grandmother's.
You sit on your comfortable, plush couch in a quiet, safe apartment, and you think about your grandmother who cleaned houses for pennies.
Right.
Or your auntie who endured decades of abuse just to keep the family together. Or your mother who buried her own dreams to make sure you had food on the table.
It's a profound sacrifice.
And you look at that lineage of immense, agonizing sacrifice, and you look at your own quiet Tuesday evening, and this heavy guilt just sets in. You wonder, Why do I get to rest when they never did? Why do I get softness when they only got calluses?
You start thinking, shouldn't I be grinding harder to honor them?
Exactly. Shouldn't I be suffering too?
It literally feels like a betrayal.
Yeah.
Your brain tells you that to be disconnected from their pain is to be disconnected from them.
Which is such a painful thought.
But this requires a radical reframe. Healing is not betrayal. Choosing personal peace is not disrespectful to your ancestors. It is actually the most profound way to honor them.
How so?
Because why did they sacrifice? What was the point of all that agonizing hardship? They didn't suffer just for the sake of suffering. They endured it precisely so the next generation wouldn't have to.
Oh, I love the way this is framed in the text. Imagine your great-grandmother looking at you right now.
Yeah.
She wouldn't be shaking her head at your quiet evening. She would be saying, "Girl, I didn't work my hands to the bone so you could stay stressed on purpose." Yes,
And
exactly.
honestly, she'd probably say it with a lot more attitude than that. She would want you to enjoy the fruit of the tree she planted.
Exactly. When you choose peace, you are bringing their ultimate goal to fruition. But it means we have to fundamentally redefine what strength actually is.
Because strength isn't just suffering.
No. For generations, strength has been defined as rigid endurance. The ability to clench your jaw, tense your muscles, and just take the hit. But real, sustainable strength is flexibility. Think of a tree during a massive storm.
Okay.
The rigid, stiff trees are the ones that literally snap in half when the wind hits. The trees that survive are the ones that bend.
And redefining strength means changing what we consider acceptable behavior for strong people.
Yes.
True strength includes taking a nap in the middle of the afternoon without apologizing for it. It includes going to therapy to unpack your somatic memory. It includes setting a firm boundary and actually letting someone be mad at you.
That's a hard one. It is. It means willingly letting someone else drive the car, both literally and metaphorically, and trusting that they won't crash it.
And there is a brilliant humorous point made about this exact thing in the source. It points out that historically, even Jesus took naps.
Right. I laughed out loud at this part.
He literally slept in the bottom of a boat during a massive storm. So for modern women to think they are somehow required to be stronger and more constantly productive than the Son of God is quite an ambitious and absurd goal.
Just a little arrogant,
A
honestly.
little bit. It really highlights how ridiculous the expectations are that we place on ourselves. We treat our bodies like machines, and we treat rest like a mechanical failure rather than a biological necessity.
So what does this all mean? If true strength is about letting go and receiving, how do we actually unlearn generations of rigid endurance?
Not easy.
Because intellectually, I understand everything we are saying here today, but practically it feels like trying to learn to speak a completely alien language while everyone around me is still speaking the old one.
It is exactly like learning a new language. You are going to be clumsy at first. You're going to conjugate the verbs wrong.
You're going to feel stupid doing it.
Totally. The core message here is that peace requires deliberate, uncomfortable practice. Most of us are experts in enduring pain. We have PhDs in suffering. But we have absolutely no idea how to receive love or help or a quiet afternoon without immediately preparing for it to be ripped away.
Right.
When you first start practicing this, when you first sit in that driveway for 5 minutes, or when you first say no without an apology, it is going to feel doubly awkward. Your security guard is going to scream at you. You will second-guess yourself.
You'll think, I'm being lazy, I'm being selfish.
Yes, but with enough time and with an immense amount of grace for yourself, your physical body will eventually believe what your mind has been struggling to accept.
The body will catch up.
Exactly. Your vagus nerve will tone. Your cortisol levels will drop. Your biology will learn that not every season of life has to be an emergency. You do not have to earn your right to exist through total exhaustion. You have to frame peace as a powerful, intentional act of self-love.
Self-love.
Yes, survival was only ever meant to be the bridge. It was never meant to be the place you build your house. Peace is the permanent destination.
Wow. That distinction changes everything. Survival is just the bridge.
Just the bridge.
Well, as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you, the listener, with a thought to really mull over, building directly on that beautiful metaphor. If survival was just the bridge that your ancestors built with their bare hands, and peace is the actual destination, what happens when an entire generation finally realizes they've crossed the bridge?
I love that question.
What happens when we stop marching, put down our armor, and start building a vibrant community in that destination? How would the world fundamentally change? How would your family change if our defining characteristic of strength became our profound capacity for joy and ease rather than our endless capacity to endure pain? Take a deep breath, let your shoulders drop, and just think about it. Until next time.